So you don't. So let me say this then. You don't. Who? Because we're gonna get into this a little bit later. Our fake contenders. Who did you have in mind for a fake contender?
Bro, there's a couple.
I
Yeah.
didn't know you had OKC as a.
No, they're not fake contender to me.
Okay. Okay.
They
Okay.
would be like, bro, if there's a word or if there's a category for, I mean, it is. It's just up and coming. I think that they're like right on the cusp of contending. They just
Okay.
need a little bit more experience together.
Got you. Okay.
They have the pieces. They're obviously very young. They just need that experience, but they're knocking on the door for sure.
Okay.
But Minnesota, bro, fake contender right off the bat. I'm just gonna say it, point
Number
blank,
one in the West.
bro. Yes,
Talk to me. Why? Why?
they
Why do
are
you
fake
consider the
contender.
Timberwolves a fake contender, bro? Tell me why. Because Minnesota
Last year,
had to
what were
go.
they last year? They were probably, I think, anywhere from like five, were they a 5, 6 seed last year? Um, Key contributors, obviously, AE, Gobert and Towns. But other than that, bro, it's just, Conley, Nas Reed,
Nas Reed, Rudy Gobert,
they're
Cat.
kind of in that same boat, bro, inexperienced, but I just don't have faith in them. Um, I don't. I mean, maybe I'll eat my words here a little bit. We'll see in a couple months, but I just don't have faith in them, bro. I think it's a fake number one seed, similar to
Really?
that was it 14-15 Hawks team. Very similar, bro.
Really? Wow. So you don't even. It's not that. So here's the thing. You're saying fake contender, but you feel kind of strongly about this. Like
I do, I
you
do,
feel
bro.
very strongly. So just to clarify, last season they were eighth in the West. They were 42 and
Oh,
40.
okay, yeah, yeah.
Now we do have to give them some slack a little bit because last year Cat was out for the majority of the season or for a very large portion of the season with an injury. Right after the Rudy Gobert trade. So they didn't really have a full team for a long period of time last season. Here's the thing. I It's tough with the Timberwolves. I don't consider them a fake contender. I would have them in my list of contenders, right?
For real. Okay.
And again, based off my criteria, it's if you can make a conference finals that I consider you a
Right.
contender for the season. Now, maybe I'm off because I don't necessarily know if they can win it all, if
Mm-hmm.
they can win the whole thing, right? And I say that because of this. I think their defense is amazing. They're huge. They're huge. You know,
They are.
when you start a team with Mike Conley is good. He's a heady point guard, but he's not a big point guard. But you go into Ant, 6'4" ish, probably like 230, ox strong. And when
Mhm.
he decides to play defense and he ratchets up his intensity, he can play defense. He's a good defender. Then you got somebody who I rock with, and he part of the skinny hooper committee, man. You know what I'm saying? Because that's who I was. My boy, Jaden, that's Jaden McDaniels, right?
Yeah, yeah. I forgot about him.
Tough, bro. Very, very tough. He looked like KD as far as body wise, obviously not the game, but he's a great defender as well.
Hmm.
Then you got Cat, not the greatest defender, but that entire team, that starting five, is anchored by Rudy Gobert, one of the best rim protectors in the league, one of the best
Hmm.
defenders in the league, 3-time defensive player of the year. So I say all this to say they're going to be able to play defense. Their offense to me is what would give me pause because you're starting two bigs, right? And are you taking away from what makes Cat a great player in terms of always having him on the perimeter because
Hmm.
he's out there with Rudy Gobert. He's a great shooter, especially for a big man. Arguably the
For
best
sure.
big man shooter in the league, right? If we're going off of just his recent history. But if you don't allow him to be able to post up because you already have Rudy on the floor and he can't stretch the floor and defense are going to sag off Rudy,
Hmm.
you take away from what makes Cat great, and you take away from what makes from what makes Ant Man great because he always have to set up for pull up jump shots versus being able to attack the basket and get to the rim because those two big guys are out there. So their offense is what will give me pause to if they can win it all, but I still might have them as a contender based on my definition.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I can see that argument for sure. When you talk about Cat's ability to stretch the floor, bro, it's like they essentially run like a 4-out 1 in with Gobert down low. You know what I
Okay.
mean? And he doesn't have really offensive ability, but he can get offensive rebounds. He can get putbacks, all that. But I don't know. I don't have confidence in them. No, you said I feel strongly about them, but another team I feel like is a fake contender is Philly. And they have
Oh,
proved this point, bro, for years. 4 to 5 years, they've been that fake contender where, consistently throughout the regular season, they show, um, win streaks, power rankings are always there, always the top of the Eastern Conference. But, Embiid's never stepping up in the playoffs. He's not really getting that much help either. I mean, Tobias Harris, um, isn't a consistent knockdown shooter. Like you mentioned that criteria. So, like, I think Maxi's their biggest contributor right now. I think he's the most important piece. Um, and obviously Nick Nurse is like that level-headed coach, bro. He's been there. He has a chip.
Won a championship. He's won a
He's huge,
championship.
bro. Him and Maxi, obviously it's one's on the floor, one's coaching, X's and O's, but um, I think those are the two outliers, bro, for this team to really take it there if they want to. But I don't have faith in them either. Um, but what are your thoughts on Philly,
So honestly, bro, you kind of you took my whole answer because here's the thing, bro.
bro? Right,
Yeah,
blasphemous song.
The Sixers, bro, they're a fake contender to me. And they're a fake contender in the truest sense of the phrase, bro, because they have a lot of good momentum, right?
Mhm,
They make the James Harden trade. This was this season. It's crazy how time is flying. This was this season. They make the James Harden trade, and they get back a lot of solid role players, a lot of solid older wings, right? And they go on a run because currently, I believe the Sixers are at the time of this recording, the Sixers are 24-13. They're third in the East, so they're having a good season.
yeah, no
And
doubt.
Embiid's having a monster season. So all right, so yeah, so Embiid having an amazing MVP season. He probably, if not for games missed, you probably still have to consider him now currently the front runner for the MVP,
Mhm.
averaging 34.6 points a game, 11.8 rebounds, and 6 assists at the time of its recording. So
Good shit, bro. That's like
it's amazing. And I mean, you have Tyrese Maxey averaging about 26 points a game, having an
mhm,
amazing season as well. This will probably be his first season as an all-star. So
mhm.
all that being said, right, I'm giving him positive things right now. I consider them a fake contender because of this. Based on just my criteria, what I go off of, Joel Embiid, amazing numbers that I just said. But when has he ever elevated his game in the postseason?
Bro,
Maybe
I
one
can't
time.
remember a time. I cannot remember a time.
There's
Like,
there's never been a time, bro.
yeah,
Never
like
been a time. Now, Philly fans might retort, and I might have to give some leeway to this. How many healthy postseasons has Embiid ever had? Maybe one.
2017, 18 year, I think.
I know this. He was healthy for that season in the bubble, but Ben Simmons was hurt. So
Mhm,
I believe they got swept by Boston. He was healthy pretty much for that series in 2019 against the Raptors, where they
mhm.
got beaten 7 games and he didn't perform up to his expectations. I say all this to say this: we really haven't had many postseasons where Embiid, despite these amazing MVP numbers so far this season, has remained at his level of play or elevated it when it matters most.
No,
So, so number one, that's a huge strike for me as a contender, right? The second option that I go off with my criteria, do they have an elite pull-up jump shooter? And I think we can consider Tyrese Maxey maybe not an elite pull-up jump shooter. He's a decent pull-up jump shooter. And he's a scorer. Like he can
mhm.
heat up quickly. So I wouldn't be too worried about that as well as Embiid. They both can hit shots and score. But then you look at the rest of the roster as currently constructed,
That's just not it.
it's just not it, bro. It's
Yeah.
not it. Eh, First of all, how many two-way role players do they have?
Melton and Batum, bro. That's all I can really.
Melton
And
and
maybe Paul
Batum?
Reed. Maybe Paul Reed.
No. Hell no, bro. Hell no, hell no. And people that know me, homies that know me, I
B-ball
have
Paul. You
I,
don't
I
like
have
him?
I have nothing against B-ball Paul,
That's crazy.
but he's not a two-way player, bro. Now maybe I don't know about his defense so much. Offensively, there's no way we're calling him a two-way player. It's just no way. It's no way. It's
We
no
can
way at all.
call. Yeah, yeah. We could just like,
He's okay. He's okay, but he's not two-way.
yeah.
He's not somebody that you're going to be relying. You should be relying on in the playoffs. No way, no how.
No, absolutely not. No, 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 no. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No. So, and here's the thing, Oubre, I like Oubre. He's having a
How
good
about him?
season, but I don't know. We got to see how that translates. But he may be somebody we can throw in a two-way thing. So I say all this to say this, bro. For them to win a championship, we didn't even mention Tobias. because
Right.
Tobias might have 30 one game,
Mhm.
and then the next game he has 4 points.
Yeah, bro. It's Tobias Harris's name should be next to inconsistent in the dictionary, bro. Like that's him. Like in a
That's truly
nutshell.
him.
Like that is. I mean, I think like Friday night was his first time in his career, and he's been in the league since like 2011 that he had back-to-back 30-point games. And if you go down his statistics, bro, he's averaged like 19, 20 a game for about 5, 6 years. So I mean, that spells it out right there. Like,
Tobias is just
um,
okay. He's okay.
yes,
Not
bro.
not not a great defender. Like you said, we don't know what he'll bring offensively each game, and I don't think he's good enough to be the third player on a championship team. And we've seen that already. Like he's not. You need someone better to be your third player on it if you are really looking to win a championship. Like you
Mhm,
said, as of this recording, the last 2 games he scored 30 points. He had 32 against the Hawks, and then he had 37 against the Kings on January 12th.
mhm.
But to get those 30 points, he shot a lot of shots, 24 shots, 25 shots. He won't get those shots playing next to Embiid and Tyrese. So I don't think we're seeing an offensive explosion or a turnaround for Tobias Harris. I just think he's taking advantage of the fact that Embiid hasn't played these last few games. So I say all this to say,
Yeah.
bro, I don't believe in the Sixers. We're looking at potential playoff matchups for them. Do we have them beating the Bucks?
No.
I wouldn't.
Nope. They have
I
way too
wouldn't.
much firepower. Still, they still. I mean, even with this Dame move, that I still think they're in good hands.
Who's
I still
guarding
would.
Giannis?
Nobody, bro. Nobody. I mean, they can try. They can try to throw bodies at him, but
Who's guarding Dame?
Melton. But I mean, he's still gonna get his. You know what I mean? He's still gonna get his.
It's not enough, bro. And then and then
Yeah.
and then you also have to look at Chris Middleton. And then on the flip side, if you're thinking of the Bucks, even though their defense is kind of weak,
Mhm.
you have a Brook Lopez to throw on Embiid to see if he can slow him down.
Mhm.
With Giannis maybe roaming, you know what I mean? So you have certain things where, to me, for the Sixers to win a championship, Embiid and Tyrese would have to play exceptionally well. And I really, even as good as they're played this season, I can't see them beating
Mm-mm.
either Boston or the Bucks in the second round. And like I said, for me, if I don't think you can reasonably make a Eastern Conference Finals, I can't consider you contender. So they're a fake contender for me, for sure.
It's a hot take, bro, but I think a team like the New York Knicks could match up well with them. And we saw them blow them out. You know what I mean? They have 1 through 5. They have arguably, you know what I mean? They match up well. I think Hartenstein with the Knicks, bro. He showed me some things when he was guarding Embiid. I mean, Embiid still got his 30 and whatever, 30 and 10, but
So to be clear, I was at that game, bro. I was at that game. They played the Knicks on January 5th. And first of all, let's just say that OG and an OB trade with the Raptors, he's
major.
been he's been playing really well since he's arrived in New York. And when I was at the game, bro, they had and however you want to say it, no answer for Jalen Brunson, bro. Like he was playing amazing.
Yep.
Tyrese, you don't want Tyrese Maxey on him.
Uh-uh.
Melton didn't play that game, and Pat Bev had some success trying to contain him. He did. He
Mhm.
did. Pat Bev is known for that. But they had no answer for Jalen Brunson. And we saw
Mhm.
the difference. Even though they don't have Mitchell Robinson, like you said, Hardenstein played pretty well, and gave decent minutes. I think a big with energy, who's able to run the floor, rebound, and just has a high motor is
Mhm.
someone who's going to give Embiid troubles because Embiid
Bro,
doesn't have the greatest motor himself.
that's perfectly said because we've seen that, right? That we've seen that in the past with Al Horford, guys like him, just energetic dudes that can defend, big long dudes that
Run the
pause.
floor.
Um,
Hardenstein can't shoot, but he was hitting
right.
a few of those
Yeah.
midi floaters, and
Yeah,
so I like the Knicks as currently constructed, bro. I say all this to say I had the Sixers as a fake contender. I think they need to make another move, and I think they will. I think they have the pieces to probably make another move because of all the things they received from the Clippers in the James Harden trade. I
Mhm.
think they need another piece. They need someone like a Pascal Siakam, right?
Big
I don't
name.
know. I don't know about a Zach Levine, but they need someone like that because if you're relying on Embiid and Tyrese to play amazing every game,
Mhm.
I can't see it. I can't see it.
Say they don't get a guy like Pascal, bro, like a 20 and 6 and 5 guy a night. Like, what if they got like a a Patrick Williams or somebody like that who can just defend. Offensively isn't really that gifted, very spotty. They need that two-way.
Who? Okay, is he better than Kelly Oubre?
No, I don't think so.
No,
He's a lot
no.
younger.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a team, if we're talking about contending this season, I think somebody like Patrick Williams, there's nothing he's going to do for the Sixers that's going to elevate them. He's not better than their starting small forwards, in my opinion, right now.
He reminds me of off-brand OG Anunoby. That's why I meant that's the first thing. You
Okay.
know what I
See,
mean?
see, see. For me, if you're asking me,
Hmm.
they need another star. I do
Yeah.
think so because I also think because Embiid, as great as he is, because he's a big
Hmm.
and he's not necessarily like Jokic in the sense where even though he's averaging 6 assists, and Nick Nurse has to get a lot of credit for that, for putting him in positions to make plays. If they double him in the post, he can swing it out to shooters. I give Nick Nurse a lot of credit. Embiid's passing has been better this season, maybe at its best this season.
Hmm.
Even despite saying this, if you're running your offense through him, I think obviously it's just easier to have a defense play against a big versus a
Hmm.
wing or guard in today's NBA. So if you take certain things away from Embiid, if you double him consistently, I think they need another star to take the pressure off of him and Maxi.
Hmm.
Tobias is not the one. He's just not it. Tobias is just not it. So I think they need a star. Role players, not so much. They need another high end star for them to
Hmm.
contend. And if they don't get that, this is all good and well, but it's another second round exit, bro.